Blitzin with Blitch. Here we are in the locker room having a great time, looking forward to the playoffs. Coach Blitch, congratulations on a playoff run and one of the top defenses in the state, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's good to be here. I mean, that was our goal when we first came in 2 years ago. We talked about too. These seniors, they said, what they want to do is we want to get back in the playoffs, have that opportunity, and they took care of it. They took care of business. Won the games we needed to. Obviously, always wish you could go 10-0 every season, but we accomplished what we were out to get this year. Is lock in a playoff seed, got in there with the 4 seed, and we'll be going to Del City this Friday night, go play on the playoffs.
Well, and I love how the season kind of ramped up to the playoffs. Really, we've been in 2 weeks of playoffs with Kelly and with McAllister. And this last Friday night at home, the guys really showed their stuff, playing with one of the better teams in the state, and could have come away winning that ballgame.
Yeah, no, it was a awesome way they came out in that senior night out there. We had a lot of senior leaders, went senior heavy with a lot of lineups, offense and defense that night, and they came out and laid it all out there. I mean, they knew it was at stake, an opportunity to you don't know what was going to happen the other game if Durant were to upset Bishop Kelly or not. We didn't know, they didn't know, but we just knew if we ended up beating them and knocking them off, there was a chance that maybe we could jump from 4-2 and host one at home. So that was what was at stake for us, what we're after. And we had a lot of guys I felt like played their best game of the season Friday night. Jameer Owens, Jamar Favors out there just flying around. Had a lot of guys out there again. Still banged up at times. Just been one of those seasons, once you get, towards the latter end of a season, it's kind of where you get with it. But I thought they all played just so tough out there. The team, like you said, was, extremely competitive and just tough all year long with everybody they played. So it was good to see them go out there and perform that way.
So from the defensive side of the ball, what were you most pleased with for your team on the field?
Yeah, I really think the tenacity we played with. I mean, we were hitting out there. I mean, you saw even, they're leaking out, but, fullbacks in the flats. Jameer's just sticking them. Jamar played just so violent and physical. Him ripping through, getting TFLs down the red zone down there, just shred through the center, trying to block back, and just got in the pulling guard's hip pocket, push through him, TFL. Ryan, all those guys flying out, Toby flying around, getting Jaden Smith back out there was good for us. Everyone just really played their best game, I felt, in the season for, a lot of the game. Again, we had a couple plays where we just don't see the extra pulling guard over there on a GT, so the guy's late coming across. They had an extra blocker, leaks one for 25, a few of those. They had about 3 20-yard runs on us to kind of set up some of their scores. And then they got down there wanting that fade ball. But, good players are going to make big plays sometimes. And we talked about that too, is those kids made a hell of a catch on that one. I mean, Dace is out there. Him and Ramel are 2 best vertical leapers, go get it, jump ball kind of guys. And that kid caught the ball in double coverage in the rain out there, bombed away for about 40 yards, kept the drive alive. So they made plays too. But, outside that, I felt like we really played tough all night, especially in a situation like that where it is pretty miserable. And, not knowing, hey, this game, if the other team ends up winning, which we don't even have vision of, this may mean nothing for us as well. But then to go out there and have that, that pride, that home field stand, and try to go win out over there at home. That was a big thing we put emphasis on this week, is we want to go undefeated, at home. We want to win out there if we can. But yeah, I was just really proud of the way they played.
Well, it came down really to the last 2 drives of the game before it was decided. And that's always nice. I'd like you to talk about your quarterback on the defensive side, Ryan High, and just you talk about tenacity. He really lays it out there. And all year long, he's been an overcomer. Talk a little bit about Ryan High.
He's just been, constant leader for us, week in, week out throughout the season. He's a quarterback of the defense. He gets guys in the checks, the calls. He knows everything. He spends a lot of extra time with myself and the linebackers coaches since I got here last year. Coming and watching the film, reached out, asked some guys I knew in the area, former guys who were coaching here, hey, who's the guy? Who's the oorah guy that gets them going? Who's the guy with the highest football IQ right now for their age group? Because they're sophomores at that time, and they're John Ryan High. That's the guy. He's got the he's going to get them going. He's going to rally the troops. He's going to be that captain and cheerleader on the field, just keep them up when they're down. And he's also the guy who just loves the game and just wants to soak it up. So I already knew before we got here he was going to be my Mike linebacker. And that's the guy in our defense who makes the calls, checks, echoes my signals across. He's the one who will have some built-in free reign to slant the D-line certain ways on his own and stuff based on, what we've talked about with him in meetings. This is what I want you to do that week. So when we came down last spring, before I ever saw him play, I met him heading into spring ball, and I just said, you know, I'm Coach Blitch. I'm Ryan High. I talked to him a little bit before through Coach Lovelace and Coach Williams. I said, hey, you're going to be my Mike linebacker. All right, and here's the deal. You're going to be an extension of me on the field, and you're also going to be the first guy when things go wrong. Then I'm gonna rip you about it, like, because you're the one. If something goes wrong, you're the first one I come to, because you got to get them right out there. And like, are you up to that challenge and responsibility? He said, absolutely, Coach. And so he took that. He's put in that extra time, that leadership, and he just knows what we want to do. And it's different when he's not out there, you know. And he has been banged up this season. Started the season, first 2 games, he's been dealing with a shoulder and some other stuff, a foot, and it's been a rough season for him. But he just goes out there every single week. He's going to give it everything he has, lays out for every tackle, and he's going to leave it all on the field with no regrets. And that's one thing you love to see is when a kid, when he finishes high school careers, you worry about those guys, man, you know, years later they're going to look back and be like, God, I wish I laid out for that play. If I could have done this on those back in high school, I could have been a better player. He's not going to be one of them. Like, he gives everything he's got every single week, and that's what's great for him and for us that we have him.
Ryan High, leader all year long, the last couple of years, just like you said, Coach Blitch. Wouldn't be right on after this final senior home game that we didn't mention that standout leader. When we come back, we've got another standout leader to announce for you. Coach Jason Madonna will join us, and we will have the MVP for the McAllister game when we come back. Blitzin with Blitch.
A lot of people don't know we started Eric's Pharmacy in 1995. So we've been going strong for over 29 years. We had a chance to spruce things up, put in new flooring, new shelving, and it really, really came together beautifully. We invite everyone to come by and take a look.
Experience the wholesome goodness of St. Gregory's Abbey. Our monks raise healthy, pasture-raised beef, free from antibiotics and hormones. Available in the Monks Marketplace inside the front monastery doors every Tuesday through Saturday.
A&S Roofing. Quality roofing built to last. Dedicated to high-quality work, pays attention to the details. So get started on your roofing project today with A&S Commercial and Residential Roofing and Contracting. Air Force One Heat and Air Conditioning offers competitive pricing, licensed technicians, and over 25 years of experience. Air Force One is a hometown company. Contact Tim or Terry Muirhead with Air Force One. At McElroy and Owens Funeral Group, your loved one never leaves our care. From your first phone call at the time of loss through final resting, we are with you. Stop by McElroy and Owens for a visit today.
Gordon Cooper Technology Center has trade classes for all ages. These programs are not just for our high school students, they are for all ages, and you have the opportunity to get further educated within our community and pick up a trade skill today at Gordon Cooper Technology Center.
We are back, Blitzin with Blitch. Without Blitch in the locker room, we've got the MVP. Coach, talk to us about the MVP of the McAllister game.
Yeah, it was a defensive battle Friday night in the rain, and our MVP was our defensive lineman, number 51, Jamar Favors. 7 tackles, 3 for a loss. The one that stood out the most was goal line stand when they got in their heavy package. And Jamar made a couple of huge plays right there to get us the ball back and get us an opportunity. So this young man's been progressing all season. He's getting better and better and better. And now he's starting to peak into where I think he's a really valuable piece to our defensive line. Oh,
I agree, man. When 51's in there, you notice it. Jamar, talk about that game in the rain. How much fun was that? Take us from the first quarter to that last drive that they were able to even score on. Talk a little bit about your journey through that game and how much fun you were having.
At first I was complaining about it being cold, but, Coach Madonna just told me, how my younger self would feel about it. Just go out there and have fun. I felt like I took that in effect, and I just really went out there and played football. And, from the start of it, I felt good about it, and I felt like we was going to go out there and play real good. And then, we got through it. I felt like we just had to really get in there, really play football, really play Shawnee football, play how we're supposed to play. I felt like we did good, but I feel like we just needed to, dig deeper. And I feel like we needed to want it more than what we did.
Wow, that's maturity right there, Coach.
It is, yeah, it is. And he's right. We're learning how to win those type of games, and defensively they played a great game, and unfortunately we didn't play complementary football to where we were able to have long possessions and finish with scores, but they kept us in it, gave us an opportunity at the end, and a couple different plays here and there, and it could have been a different outcome. But hats off to a really talented McAllister team. You know, they were second in the district, and they're hosting a playoff game for a reason. So, but thanks to guys like Jamar and the rest of these seniors, we're in a better situation moving forward in the future to where we're going to now start winning those type of games.
Yeah, and we're talking about complementary football. You guys spent a lot of time on the field, Jamar. Talk a little bit about that with us and how you were able to handle that just from a conditioning standpoint.
Our coaches every day make sure we're conditioned as best as we could be conditioned. Coach Madonna, Coach Blitch, Coach Lovelace, Coach Dub, even though he's new, you know, they make sure that we run and we get our conditioning every day. And just being out there with your team and them motivating you to keep going, it's not that hard to keep going whenever you got your team out there with you.
Well, talk about that, because I was very impressed before we started this segment. You talking a little bit about the different of attitudes between your sophomore class and who you are today as seniors.
Yeah, I just feel like as sophomores, you know, when we first came here, we was young and just, you know, ready to play football just in high school in general. We're trying to really make a name for ourselves. But I feel like as of now, we play more for each other and as a team. And I feel like we trust each other and we can count on each other and have each other's back even in tough moments or situations where we need to be able to trust each other. I feel like we do that more now than we did coming into high school.
Coach Madonna, man, coming in, I mean, that kind of, I know what that makes me feel like as a parent to some of these kids, but as a coach, you've got to love to hear that from a senior leader.
Absolutely, you know, absolutely, and it means they're absorbing some of the messages we preach. You know, we talk to them and we tell them, but at the end of the day, they have to absorb it and apply it. And I got to give a lot of credit to this senior class. I feel like they've done that. They've taken the lessons, the hard lessons they've learned over the past couple of years, and they've taken the messages that they've been given and they've absorbed it. Now they're applying it, and they were able to have some success. At the end of the day, was it the amount of success that we felt like we could have had? Maybe not, but I guarantee it. You know, 365 days ago, if you would have told us that you were going to be in the playoffs, every single person would have been like, we'll take it. And so just the progress that these guys made, having a vision in front of them, now they're having the opportunity to play bonus football, which a lot of kids that have to stay doesn't get. And so that's a big testament to just them staying with it and the consistency that they have and the maturity that they've shown.
Well, and this senior class until this moment have been that other half of the state in not being able to taste playoffs, Jamar. Since you were a freshman, we haven't been able to get there again. What's it feel like to you now, knowing that, hey, this Friday night under the lights, we're going to be playing Oklahoma playoff football?
It feels good. It feels great knowing that, you know, my senior class could really start not a new generation, but can start a new motive. Like for a younger class coming into high school, you know, they can really think about and know that us, with Coach Madonna, we did something good, so they feel good coming into Shawnee, not just thinking, 0-10 and, you know, all the bad seasons. They have a good season to go off of, and they have good coaches to come into, and, you know, they got a base built for them already. They don't have to build it for themselves. We built it, and they can continue off of it and build it for the younger generation after them.
Well, getting to be my age, I'm serious about looking at a lot of you guys and as a parent would look at you, the team that you have set around you. I know that you have important people in your life, Jamar, and maybe one or two really stand out. I'd like you to give you the opportunity to tell us about those people, who they are, and why they mean so much to you in making you who you are today.
First, my mom. You know, she's always on my back about, you know, more than just football, school. She always wants me to do good in school. She wants me to just be the best person that I can be in life. I love her for what she does for me, everything that she's did for me, her pushing me, even through the moments where I feel like I want to quit. She's been there. She's always been there, always pushing me through hard situations, easy situations. I can count on my mom, and to thank God for that. And my grandparents, you know, they was there for me, my mom and my sister. I thank God for them as well. You know, them being there for us and being able to support us in ways that a lot of people haven't. I'm appreciative that they're willing to put in the money and the time and the effort to come watch me play, to get the equipment for me to play, and then to just be happy to come watch me play. And I'm happy to play and to be able to be good, be a good person for them and just stuff like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, That's the epitome of what I've learned through this entire senior class over the last 24 months. How wonderful that is, Coach. What a testament it is to the leadership that you have on this team.
It is. You know, the coaches and the parents, it's a partnership to help try to produce high-quality young men and community members. And I can say one thing about Jamar's parents, he's absolutely blessed. He's right. He's extremely lucky. They're there for him. They support him. You know, if I need something, I can call his mom, say, hey, Jamar's being lazy, or Jamar's got, you know, a low grade or something like that, and then she's on top of it helping me get it fixed. And so, and the same thing vice versa. She can call and say he's doing X, Y, and Z, and then we can together partnership. Obviously, they're doing the majority of the work. We're just supplementing, but there's been times out there in that practice field where Jamar's had them second thoughts and mom had to step out the truck, and all of a sudden he thought the right way. So it's amazing how that works. But no, he is really lucky. He's got a great support system at home that's really helped push him and allowed him to have success like he had last Friday night.
Support at home and support in the locker room. And, you know, he probably gets those same phone calls about Jamar's doing great. Jamar got an A on this test, or Jamar had a great game the other day. And they talk about those good things as well, I'm sure, Jamar.
Yeah. I like to, you know, make good things for coaches to hear. I don't want them to walk around school hearing bad about me.
Well, I'm sure we're not, buddy. The MVP, McAllister game, Jamar Favors. Coach, great pick, bro.
Thank you.
Jamar, congratulations. BB Woodworks and Hardesty Meat and Deli. You and your family will enjoy a meat pack from all of those who care. That's probably my phone, guys. Don't worry about it. We'll be back blitzing with Blitch after these messages. It's Sonic Good at all 4 of our Shawnee locations. Great food, great fun, the best hamburgers in town. Keeps everybody smiling. Parties or gatherings, there's room for everyone. It's always a good time, Sonic good time, at our Shawnee Sonics. Do you want an easy car buying experience? Castor Keys on Harrison. No hidden fees, no price gimmicks. Castor Key Auto Mart for a fair and convenient car buying experience. Hardesty Market in Deli, a real butcher shop for over 80 years. Daily lunch specials just like Mom used to make. Best cuts of meat and even better people. Your family at Hardesty Market in Deli.
For over 50 years, Fred's Tire and Battery has served Central Oklahoma with tires, batteries, and service for cars, trucks, and tractors. Friendly and affordable, with 2 locations in Shawnee. Fred's Tire and Battery, a name you can trust.
Back blitzing with Blitch. We got Coach Blitch back on the set. Coach, man, Jamar Favors, you called it early in the show. Yeah. Man, he's really been putting it out all year, but it built to last game. He had opportunity and he took it.
Yeah, he was awesome for us. I mean, he almost had about 10 tackles, multiple TFLs. Like, he was just an animal in that D line. They couldn't block him single, or even when they doubled him, we split into double teams. He's one of the biggest testaments of what we try to accomplish here, you know, with strength and conditioning program and just the buy-in and the culture that we try to, you know, set with it, you know, the Shawnee toughness, honor, effort. When we first got here, Jamar struggled at times his sophomore year with, you know, some fitness, conditioning stuff. And what he's done physically and transformed his body over the last, you know, almost 2 years now is incredible. I mean, he's been getting that extra work in, the running, you know, doing extra stuff with Coach Lovelace, D-line coach. And for him to have that kind of game where we're shorthanded, don't have extra guys to spell him and rotate, and from where he was, and he knows a year and a half ago to now, where he's a staple, not leaving the field, playing the entire night, no spell, no subs, no rest, and to play at that level with that high of a motor is just incredible to see. And that's one of the best things you want to see, is just a kid to really transform everything he is physically and mentally, and just to push through and have that mental toughness and that physical endurance to go out there and play the way he did. That's awesome. It's very rewarding.
So now we come into the 3rd season playing one of the top 3 teams, maybe top 2 teams, maybe top team in the state in Del City. It's going to be tough. They've got a potent offense. What's our defense going to look like? What's their offense first? Let's start on their offense. What's their offense going to look like, Coach Blitch?
I like to mix it up, multiple front, a lot of motions and stuff. I know Coach Jones, he's been in DC for a long time, defense coordinator. I know he's calling the offense. And you can tell, because there's a lot of things he does is stuff that as a defensive guy, as a defense coordinator, you're like, oh, man, that sucks. I mean, so he's going to do a lot of motions, some shift stuff, but a lot of motions and shifts and stuff that's going to be misdirection. Try to get those linebackers' eyes looking left and right, and just try to confuse them at times. And that's the thing you can do with that stuff is like get somebody peeking the wrong way for a second. Well, now they're half a step slow to the point of attack. So now, would be a form tackle is an arm tackle. Now they're running through it. Now, a 3-yard gains, maybe a 5, 8, 10-yard gain. So, they do a lot of things in that nature that can be tough on a defense. What they're going to do depends. I don't know the quarterbacks. You got 2 quarterbacks they've used on the season. They have a sophomore, more of a pocket passer. He's got pretty good arm. And they have a freshman they've been using. They used last week. And he's a freshman, but he's extremely fast. I mean, he's a mobile likes to run a lot of quarterback run game, power game. And again, I know Coach Jones understands the advantage of that. Anytime you have quarterbacks a player and you're going 11 for 11, it's tough on a defense because now you got that running back is now an extra blocker and the quarterback's a ball carrier. So it really makes you have to shore up what you're doing defensively and be really sound and form tackling everything you do. Talking about leverage, things like that, especially at those extra blockers and the power stuff they're going to do, some GT things, little guard kick out. Guard trap, you've got to make sure you take it on outside leverage depending on what you're going on. If you're kind of in zone set, maybe you want to take it on the inside and bounce it to your apex backers. If it's a man set, maybe you take it on the outside shoulder to box it in. So it makes the boys have to think, before they have to actually think pre-snap, post-snap. So that's the biggest thing. We've got to bottle up the receivers. Number 88 is a go-getter, tall. He's got athleticism out there. A lot of their guys are going to have good foot speed. And their O-line, not massive, but they're going to be athletic, so they're able to move, which is going to match a little bit of what we do speed-wise. I think they're going to be a little bit faster than some of the other O-lines that we've seen in the last couple of weeks as far as when we get our stunts and things going. They're going to be able to move their feet and slide, try to catch them. For us, it's going to be a similar thing, misdirection, what we do in our shows on our fronts, before we're going to do our coverages, do some roll stuff, take our timely shots where we want to maybe man them up, bring some heat. And biggest thing is just going to be tackling. If we can come out and we can perform similar to how we did Friday night in McAllister in that rain and actually form tackle and just everybody lay out every time they have a chance, I think it's going to be a pretty competitive football game.
So coming through the season, who has proven to be your best tacklers on the field on your side?
Now, when healthy, there's going to be quite a few of them. I think Jameer Owens, man, when he's healthy, he likes to stick kids. He hit a kid the other night that kid got his bell rung. I mean, he hit him up, and that kid fell back, shook his head, and we knew he'd stuck him well. I'm surprised he didn't fumble. Outstanding tackler. Ryan's a good tackler out in space over there. Jaden Smith, I think, would probably, hands down right now, maybe our best tackler in the year. I don't think maybe missed once or twice on the year, but he's a load too, though. I mean, Jaden Smith's 200-plus pounds at 6 feet tall, and he's fast. I mean, he's vicious. Toby Smith in the box. There's been a lot of them that have been out there. As far as the front level, we talk about the D-line. DeMario Joyner's probably, I'd say, our best tackler. You get that linebacker depth, it's going to be Jaden and Ryan. And then when you get back to that third level with the defensive backs, it'd have to be Dace and then Jameer. And Dace and Jaden Smith are leading our team in tackles this year. Both of them right about 70. I think Jaden Smith's at 77, 78, and Dace is right behind like 75. So they're neck and neck right there with the cleanup crew. But yeah.
So from the linebacking core, what Coach Jones is trying to do is get you looking the wrong way. That's going to be a lot on Ryan to keep everybody on the right page.
Yep. It's going to be him and Jaden Smith probably rolling out there inside this week. And it's going to be big on them. With those outside backers, you're going to be late to the party on plays that go away from you anyway, so you can stay home. It's not as much of like, hey, one wrong step. It's just about like your explosiveness. Once you see it diagnosed, exploding out on that backside. Sometimes you do need to drag your back leg. What I mean is slow pay it in case they cut back, counter, reverse. But it's the inside guys with Ryan and Jaden that, if they read something false, a false pull, or their eyes are wrong, they're staring in the backfield instead of reading their keys in the triangle, and they take one step to the left, play is going to the right. Well, now they're half a step, half a yard, maybe a full yard in trail with a team that has, the speed like this, like that could be the difference between making a tackle and not at all. So this will be the biggest thing we're trying to work on this week is, lots of reps, of pulls, our eyes, discipline inside the box, and making sure we understand what to expect, what they're coming out with.
So for those young guys out there, and even some of the parents watching, when you say their eyes need to be in their triangle, what do you mean?
We like to read a guard, center guard triangle a lot of times for linebackers. Depends what we're doing, but like with baseline reads. But that guard, center guard triangle, that's what you're looking at. When you get that, like say a counter down block, that center, if that guard's pulling, that center's going to block down and block back to your place. So if you get that center blocking back and a guard flowing, well, now that's your pull read right there. So now you know, boom, pulling here, play going that way. Occasionally, have some teams that'll do some false pull stuff. If you do, you read different keys that week. But that triangle is that guard, center, guard, back to the quarterback. That's your triangle you're reading. And that kind of gets you a good flow for your inside backers as far as like which way the play is going. If there's no pulls and you get like an inside-outside zone, you'll see them all kind of slide block. And you can really key that, really the guard and center on either side, depending on what they're doing. If they're doubling the scoop, you know, if they're doing some duo stuff. So that's our first baseline read for most of the stuff we do. And depending what we have that week and what the opponent does, if we change those reads and what we're trying to look. Some teams maybe have a fullback, we call it a sniffer back, sometimes an up back. Maybe they're going to take you the ball. Maybe you want to read that flow more if they're not pulling guards. They use like a YF, or they pull a tight end and a sniffer, and they're their lead blockers. So maybe that's your keys that week, depending. Or maybe you cross key with a far side backer and play side backer. There's still keys as normal triangle. So, you know, with Coach Jones and stuff, they do is a lot of motion stuff. A lot of it's receiver motion. So they fly. They do a really great job. I was telling defense staff, their guys, when they're going in motion, they're not trotting through the motions like, oh, I'm going to shift. Like, they're going full speed. So when they take off, there's that threat of, hey, if they snap it and pitch this ball to this guy, am I about to be outflanked on the edge here? And if they start feeling that panic, they start to widen out on that snap, or they start to like jerk that way, or they'll shuffle. Maybe that's not their job. Maybe we're in a man coverage situation where that guy's being taken care of by a Dace or a Dietrich, and we don't flow with him. Let that guy do his job, take care of him. So then you get them worried, that panic kind of says, flies across, and now I'm looking here for half a second, I don't see this pulling guard, or I don't see this speed option going away, and now I'm a second late to get across, and now they're going to get the edge on that side. Or maybe my play side backer out there, he forces it to cut back, but because I stared over here for half a second, I'm late on that cutback, and now he's down the pipe, you know, between the safety, if it's split field. So there's a lot of things that you just got to be disciplined in. Like that's the biggest thing. A lot of it, you said, does come back. Those inside guys, they have to be right even more so than the other side guys outside, because anytime they're wrong,
it's so quick.
Yeah,
if they're wrong, it is quick.
Yeah, a lot of discipline.
And so, talking about their quarterback being talented as a freshman, we've got a talented freshman back as well. He's been, it's been very fortunate for you to find him, because he's been able to give our lead back, Dietrich, such a spell in the defense. So, Garrett back there, talk a little bit about our defensive backfield.
Oh, yeah, Garrett McCurdy, he's been awesome. I mean, he came in, saw him a little bit last year in 8th grade, and we knew coming in, like, hey, he's going to be physical. I talked to his dad this summer and his brother, and I was like, listen, this kid's probably going to be competing for varsity early on, just the way he came out. We went to the 7-on-7 this summer. We had Del City and some of those teams, Midwest City. Mix them in there, because you never know. With the young guys, like to throw them out there and just see. Most of the times you throw a freshman in there against senior guys who are, these freshmen are 14, 15. You got some 18, 19-year-old seniors. It's going to be pretty obvious they're going to get pretty timid, get in their shell, not do too great. Some of the chirping goes on. They get like, their eyes get big as saucers, and you're kind of like, all right, bud, let's pull them back out. So you kind of throw them in there in the fire just to see where they're at mentally and how they gauge that you know, handle that smoke. Garrett had no problem with it this summer. We threw him out there, and he's just not phased at all, just covering guys. He's pretty laid back and like calm demeanor by nature, but he's really come out of his shell the last few weeks. I know he talks a lot more in the locker room, you know, telling Deech and Dace, just letting them know, like, hey, man, listen, the future's here. And just kind of bows up. And so he's really kind of come out of his shell a lot. I think some of them are like, Coach, you remember when Garrett used to not talk at all? And it's like all the other freshmen kind of, but like, yeah, I do. It's a long ways away now. But no, he's just a special athlete. He's going to have a tremendous career here. Like he's big time. And for what he's done defensively this year as a freshman, it doesn't happen very often. And I've done this a long time, especially defensive back secondary is, you know, kind of my strong suit. And for a kid that age to come in at the 5A level and come out here and just week in, week out, and not be afraid to cover guys and have the sticky coverage he's had in man and zone has been just really impressive. And playing the box at safety. I mean, we've moved him from corner into safety, putting him in the physicality zone in there, and just not shying away from it. Coming downhill, laying the wood. And then on the offensive side, you know, you see when he gets that ball in his hand, he's special. Yeah. Like he runs violent, runs hard. He had that, 47-yard touchdown the other night on 4th down even. I think it was like 4th and 3, 4th and 4.
Wildcat threw him as the Wildcat.
Yeah, and just popped it out there, just made 2 guys miss, broke some tackles, and just straight down the middle of the hash right there. So,
and they couldn't catch him.
No, and he's young and he's fresh and he's hungry. I mean, that's the biggest thing. You got guys like that, and if you ever get a guy that's young and can play at that level, not only is it's special they're doing it, but those guys sometimes can make some plays that are so spectacular because they don't know any better. Like, they don't understand sometimes the magnitude of the moment. They're not a senior who's like, hey, I've been grinding for 4 years. I finally got to a playoff game. And so this kid's a pup. Like, he's like, that's just another football game. He doesn't understand, like, it's hard to get here sometimes. So sometimes in games like this, those are the guys that when they get out there, they don't feel the pressure because to them, it's like, I've been grinding for 4 years. This is just a football game. I just played, 12 of these last year in middle school. I played another 10 this year. Like, it's just another thing to him. And he hasn't had that, that longing, trying to make the postseason. So sometimes those guys can come out and just do some wild stuff that, like, I can't believe that kid did that, like that poise, and they make catches or make big plays, big hits, big runs that you're like, man, it's awesome. So
just another fun story about this team. And Coach, there's a lot of them, and there's a lot of reasons for everybody to follow us to Del City and be in the stands for this club. Give them a shout out. Let's get everybody out there.
Yeah, come on out, guys. Please come support us. Like I said, this is a big playoff game. Haven't been there in a while, in a few years. These boys' first time, this whole senior crew is going to be in the playoffs out there. They're amped up. They're excited. We play so much better with support. We've seen that as our home record this season, going out there 4-1 at home. Anytime they feel that passion and support from the fans and that love and that showing when they come out there, they feel more comfortable. They play better, play faster, more confident because they know there's people behind them supporting them and loving them. So, show up out there, turn out to Del City, make sure we have some noise out there and just cheer these boys on.
Coach Mike Blitch, thanks as always, man, spending your time with us. Blitzin' with Blitch. Come on out to Del City, and we all get to do some blitzing with Blitch and the whole Shawnee High School squad. Remember, all of us together, Shawnee, we build community one season at a time.